What's a mook?
A mook? What's a mook?
I don't know.
So yeah, The Substance, I think, is, well, all I can say is it's my kind of movie.
Yeah.
I don't blame it for not really getting, I think it got maybe 1 or 2 Oscar wins, maybe, but I'm amazed that it even was nominated because it's such an anti-Hollywood film. The big upset.
I mean, it really kind of is, right? Because like, you know, it starts specifically like on the Hollywood star and kind of like shows the disintegration of it and stuff. And, that's, I mean, kind of one of the, it's a really interesting and artistically expressive visual metaphor for what this character is going through, and that's also kind of such a prevalent theme within Hollywood, you know, like the attempt to kind of hang on to your luster as a star.
Well, and to me, it's like, it just seems like maybe the most iconic one. Like, I think it's more of a movie that will gain more notoriety in time. Like, as the movie lives on, it'll be more of a classic, and I think it'll be far more remembered than most of the movies.
I would think so too. Yeah. Like, to me, and I totally share your opinion. That was my favorite movie of last year, so yeah, good one to start talking about. I thought it was like the directing of it was very visionary. I don't want to say pretentious. It was it was suitable. You know, it was very suitable for what it was trying to do, but it was also like very expressive and kind of different.
I think it was very self-aware, which could, in the wrong hands, could maybe come off as pretentious. But I don't think it did. When I enjoy a movie as much as The Substance, it's a very rare thing in this day and age for me to enjoy and connect to a new movie the way I did with that. Yeah. But it was also making me so nervous that I was like, oh, please don't fuck up. Please don't like toy with my emotions and then turn to shit in like the second half. And because I was enjoying it so much, because sometimes you can watch movies like that and it can turn out to be style over substance, and you're like, oh, there was opportunities there and they didn't really let it blossom into the great thing it was. And to me, it's like, no, it's like the movie just kept getting kind of better. There was a period where near the end, you know, I guess spoilers for anybody who hasn't seen it.
Yeah, we're not going to give a damn about spoilers.
And what I'm saying isn't even really that much of a spoiler. Like, I mean, I think a lot of people know that it's a body horror film, and near the end, it does get kind of so gratuitously gory. If it's just going to end on this note, maybe they didn't really have all that much to say.
See, that's exactly what I was thinking when that was going on too. Is I'm like, oh man, this is like kind of ridiculous, and like it's kind of going dumb. And how is this going to end? Yeah, is it just going to be like a complete mess of an ending where you're kind of left with nothing?
But then it totally redeems itself, I feel. It does the full circle. Yeah. And I just had a big smile on my face and was just like, bravo. So
like I had never heard of her before. And so this was really her second film?
I believe so. Her second feature. Maybe she did a number of shorts before this. I don't know. But one thing I love is it's like she's, unlike a lot of filmmakers, she's actually like cinematically literate. Like, she's a fan of cinema. She has great taste and she knows the things that she's referencing. What were your thoughts on, because this was one of the big upsets of the night. I think everybody was really expecting Demi Moore to win, and it almost became life imitating art.
Yeah, right. End. Yeah, isn't that kind of like a poetic ending to all this in some ways? Because I was totally rooting for her, but and she loses to the young new girl on the block. New girl. You know?
This is very surreal.
It wasn't even.
Part of me just thought like
you know, it's funny because I hadn't actually thought of that at the time. My thought was, oh man, like really, like, okay, that girl in Honora won, but she's like over Demi Moore. Yeah. But I hadn't thought about how it kind of connected to the themes of The Substance. Yeah. So that's actually really interesting you bring that up, because
the Academy giving Demi that nomination, that was her award. That was basically, they were like, that is what you're gonna get out of it. But it's weird because I guess she was winning. I don't follow the other award shows, but I guess there's all of these award shows that lead up to the Oscars, and some of them known to be like the best predictors of if you will win the Oscar. I think it's like if you win the Golden Globe or maybe the People's Choice Award, you're almost like a shoo-in based on patterns. And so Demi Moore won those, I believe. she won a lot of these Best Actress awards, so people are like, oh, okay, so she'll probably get the Oscar. I mean, when she didn't get it, my first thought was just sort of like, wow, like who the hell did Demi Moore piss off in her past? Like, who did she like fuck over in the 90s that karma maybe caught up to, where they were like, fuck her, she's not getting it.
Oh my God, she's an assistant.
I guess it probably just boils down to like the themes of the movie. Like, again, I'm really surprised that it actually even kind of got the nomination, because again, just horror movies, there's a small handful of horror movies that get nominated for Best Picture and or even any other Oscars, and it's a very small list.
But truth be told, there's like a small amount of horror films that also have that kind of like, I guess, like depth and richness of meaning and stuff.
Yeah,
like that are that well done. I mean, like
there's probably only one just clean the room, and that was Silence of the Lambs. Like, even The Exorcist got tons of nominations. It was definitely recognized, but it didn't really win many of the awards. Like, again, I think it just boils down to it. You can make the best movie of the year, but if it's a horror movie, you'll probably at best get some nominations. It's just that I think we're still at a time where they've sort of stigmatized horror movies, and even something like Silence of the Lambs, some people might even argue that it's not even a horror movie, that it's more of like just a really intense sort of like psycho thriller. There's a lot of horror movies that I feel don't even get nominated.
Right,
that
sure.
That were
worthy of it.
very worthy. Yeah, a lot of people talk about Toni Collette's performance in Hereditary, just as for an actor award, that many people were like, that's clearly the best performance of the year, but it didn't even get the nomination because you weren't going to be given a whole bunch of nominations to Hereditary.
Yeah.
But
the interesting thing is, again, like that's a movie that I think that a lot of people do talk about.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've still been meaning to watch it, but a lot of people have talked about it, and it's very memorable in kind of the cultural psyche, I feel like, for people who have watched it, it's very memorable. It's very unique. Again, it's like the best movies don't always get the nominations. Did you feel like Dennis Quaid was snubbed a little bit in this in the supporting actor category?
That would really depend on. I'd have to really look back on who the other supporting actor nominations were, just to see if anybody could have been pulled out. I liked his performance, but I think it was a little bit too. The reason why I don't think Dennis Quaid would have ever gotten a nomination is
Is everything okay? So smile! Pretty girls should always smile.
It's a little bit too cartoony, but mainly it's like it's very one note. And he does it very well, but there's no range in that character. He's kind of like an archetype almost, right? And so that's probably why he wouldn't have gotten the nomination. But unlike Demi, where hers is actually kind of also a little bit kind of cartoony, but you do get the range.
Exaggerated, I guess you'd say. But definitely the range. And I mean, like, that's a pretty intense role.
Yeah. There's so much craziness with the special effects and stuff that it almost kind of takes over from just kind of the courageousness of Demi Moore being like, a 60-something-year-old doing complete, not even like full frontal, full back nudity, like the whole shabam. Like, that fucking takes a lot of balls.
Yeah, that's true. Which I mean, like, she still looks pretty darn good.
Oh actually. Man, yeah. Well, and I think that's such a big part of the tragedy of the movie, where you're just like, stop.
You're like, you're okay.
Yeah.
And then she just gets, I know.
People don't need to know that she's playing a woman actually 10 years younger than Demi Moore is in real life. Like, that's how well preserved. I know she's had some work done and stuff like that, but she's also in good shape. Like, there are things that she's doing, obviously. I remember when like the movie first starts and Demi Moore's doing the aerobics, I was just sort of like, what the fuck? Like, I was trying to look, I was like, did they deep fake something there? Like, did they make her better looking than she actually is?
Well, do you know if they did? Because maybe they did something, or they got like a body double for part of it.
Who's the girl who's
Margaret Quigley?
Margaret Qualley. I do know that she's wearing fake boobs in the movie.
Yeah.
So I feel like the first beginning you see of her in the movie is actually just Demi Moore, like with good makeup, good lighting and hair and everything like that. And then she just slowly turns into Glenn Close until it's beyond Glenn Close. No offense to Glenn Close. I think Glenn Close is great.
Yeah.
But there's like a weird, she kind of turns into like a 90-year-old Glenn Close at one point.
Right. And, yeah. I mean, that's a good comparison actually, because it seems like she's the type of person who.
Meryl Streep has lost a ridiculous. Meryl Streep's probably lost more Oscars than any other actress, but Meryl Streep's also won probably like 4 or 5. So that's, I guess, the difference. And it's just it's rough when you just keep losing. And I'm sure, Glenn Close, the thing is, it's like, I think there's actually, for an actor, there's probably nothing better than that, because it keeps you thirsty. You'll probably be an actor who's going to keep acting until you just cannot act anymore. Yeah. There's a thing when you win an Oscar, not for all, but there's kind of an Oscar curse where a lot of people, that is the end of their career after that Oscar.
Yeah. Well, I think that there's definitely problems with peaking early.
Yeah.
So like let's say for that girl who won for Honora, I'm trying to remember her name, Mikey,
is it like Mikey Madison or something?
Yeah,
or?
I think it's something. I think it's that. Yeah, it's probably pretty
good.
exciting.
She was good.
She is.
Yeah,
she was really good. But it's just once you've won the award, it's kind of like that is the pinnacle of the acting career in some ways. And then I mean, maybe there's also something that allows you to just sort of relax into your other roles and just make it more about the work then too.
Even Death Becomes Her, I think, is a very underrated Zemeckis movie.
I haven't seen that. I'm gonna have to
check
really?
Some of these out. You gotta watch that. You gotta watch Death Becomes Her.
Contact? Oh, wait.
There's actually, just to bring this all the way back around with the Oscars, there was a lot of influence that Death Becomes Her had on The Substance.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it does its own thing, but there's definitely some similarities there that I think were even maybe like noted by like the filmmakers.
Oh, he did direct Contact.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.